Hello, thank you for staying with us for the news review. We're joined by Dr. Kwame Asante, political scientist, director for the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Doc, good morning to you. I see you. You would have to unmute for us, Doc.
Sorry. Ben, good morning and good to hear from you.
Great. So let's get into some quick stories. I'm sure you're familiar with them before we get into the newspapers this morning. Some of them emanating from the latest Auditor General's report. So one, we've been told that the Judicial Service has had some auctions and that 16 of its past and current justices, senior members of the bench, so we're talking about the superior courts, the Court of Appeal, the High Courts, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court, got some auction vehicles. And we're talking about vehicles that would cost nothing less than 70,000 American dollars, even if it's a period after 4 years. And they're buying them for $5,000, $6,000 thereabouts. And we're asking ourselves how this should be happening. Recently, I was speaking to a procurement, expert who was telling me that even when it is 0% rated after a number of years, it still has quite a bit of value, especially in light of what the Office of the Special Prosecutor has been telling us when it comes to the auction of vehicles by customs and all of that. What picture does that paint for you? And tied to that, because it's also in the report, I just want you to address both of them. Some 3 people have been paid between January 2020 and December 2021, have been paid, guess what, over 1.1 million Ghana cedis. They can't even be traced in terms of the Finance Ministry, the Ministry of Finance. They are not staffed there. They can't be found, yet they have secured over 1.1 million Ghana cedis, earning 29,000 cedis a month, 25,000 cedis, 19,000 cedis before deductions. What do you make of all of this?
Ben, it's nothing but weak capacity of the state. That's all. When we talk about capacity of the state, we are looking at how the state is able to use its resources to manage things efficiently for a better life for its people. Is that what we are seeing? No. It means somebody is not doing his work. All right. How can you pay a ghost, so to speak? And it's consistent. I mean, we've seen ghost names all the time, effort by the state to remove them, and in no time, they come back. Why can't we find a lasting solution to this? Is it the case that we want to deal with this issue head on? I'm not sure. Because if we want to address it, we'll find better ways of addressing it than this ad hoc and then lip service we pay to some of these things. So that has brought us thus far. I am also surprised that we still have a policy which is not only insulting, but distasteful, in the mouths of every rational human being. Now, people get cars, they go outside, work, get cars, bring them to this country, and then they are not able to pay taxes on them. And then the state find a way of, giving them out without proper value for money. I don't blame the judges because, yes, they will apply, and then they want the right thing to be done. So once you said, it's okay, you can buy, they can. But we have to look at the policy itself, whether it's worth maintaining. I think this policy is moribund. It must be jettisoned and thrown into the lake of fire. We don't need this. We need to reflect on that. You see, when you are dealing with any public policy and you go through the whole process, at the end of the day, you have to examine whether the policy is worth maintaining. If not, why do you continue to maintain it and incur the wrath of the public and insult the conscience of good people of this country? This is not fair. This policy must be thrown out.
It must be thrown out. So what essentially must be thrown out? Because you look at our declaration, assets declaration regime, for example, and you see that it has a lot of loopholes. People can basically present, as has been mentioned, blank sheets of paper and put it there. No one would know unless some issue arose. So we are basically clothed with the power to do X, Y, Z, but we are not doing X, Y, Z. The former Auditor General and some CSOs and individuals, prominent ones, have had to take on the current Auditor General, and they are threatening to picket the AG's office because they are saying disallow, surcharge. Yet we are not seeing that. There's another aspect of this: 17 billion Ghana cedis in public, irregularities. How do we account for that money? Surcharges, zero. So you could say that these nefarious officers have won 17 billion times, scored 17 billion points, and the state of Ghana has scored zero on that. I mean, what do we do?
Administrative capacity is weak. I mean, there are rules, there are, procedures, processes, but we don't want to adhere to them. All right. What do we do? It's not the case that we don't have, better laws to regulate the conduct of people in this regard. We have them, but enforcing them, it means that we, the people, must hold them to account. How do we hold them to account? If we talk about them and they will not listen, a time comes for us to renew their mandate. We throw them away. That is all. Or we go to court and seek redress. All right. You see what the CSOs are doing, that they are going to picket at the AG's office. Yes, that's one of the tools of public opinion that we can use to address some of these things. Otherwise, we can also go to court and seek redress. For government, we don't need to pamper any government because they are not doing anybody a favor, and nobody also force them into office. If they are not ready to govern, they give way, and that's all. Or we throw them out through the legal process. That's all, through elections. That's all.
Well, let's get into the papers now. Daily Graphic is where we're going to be starting. 17 billion Ghana cedis, financial irregularities uncovered in public corporations, like I was just mentioning. Cape Coast gears up for Fit to Afashe, that's on page 13. Electronic waste, Ghana risks becoming dumping ground, Energy Commission cautions. Aren't we already? I think at a point in time, it was mention was made of the fact that Sodom and Gomorrah, some parts of that stretch had become one of the most polluted, if not the most polluted site in the world, because they were, these computer parts and other TV parts and all of that. They were, melting them and doing all of that. And they were looking at how hazardous this was. And mind you, these people doing this are not even using protective gear, any masks or something to protect themselves. So you can tell. So this bit, I think we've been here a long time. It's not about becoming. We have been. There are other stories in there, but let's focus on these for now. So the first story, Ghana risks becoming an environmental dumping site for used electrical and electronic waste from Europe, the Energy Commission has cautioned. For that reason, the country needs to strengthen its regulations to block the influx of electronic waste from other jurisdictions into its market. Speaking with the Daily Graphic in Accra, the Assistant Manager in charge of Energy Efficiency Inspection and Enforcement at the Commission, Hubert Nsozan, said currently, the Commission was seeking overarching powers to effectively deal with the development. And he said, we deserve better as a people, and Ghana definitely deserves better as a country. But I'm putting it to you. So the regulation that we're looking at, LI 1932, is a 14-year-old law that bans the importation or sale, that is distribution of used refrigerators, air conditioners, incandescent filament lamps, among others. The others are distribution, transformers, computers, microwave ovens, and it goes on. But just as with these, you see, for example, was it 2019 or 2020 thereabouts? Ghana was the country importing the largest number of obraniwewu, used clothing, in the world. And guess what? I'm interacting with this Spanish entity that wants to conduct some sort of survey, which I'm helping them to do in Ghana. Guess what? A lot of this, 50%, sometimes 80% of it is all waste. How can we be a country like this? All the waste of the world, from clothing to electronics, ends up here.
Institutions are down. Remember, Obama told you, you need strong institutions. Who are those making sure that we get the materials worth, the salt to come into the system? Are they in this country, or they are on sabbatical leave, or whatever leave you can call it? Yeah, they're not working. Because other than that, you ask yourself, how did they get here? There are regulations. We need to enforce them. If there are people occupying offices who will not do their work, what about their supervisors? Are they also sleeping? I want to believe that they are also sleeping, because how do you supervise a work that you've given to your subordinate and he's not doing what is expected of him, and you are quiet? I mean, that's a problem. And they don't think about the health hazard that is imposed to the society. Look at the emissions that are coming out of this. And the people there have no idea about the effect that it will have on them and their society at large. And simply, we are just glossing over. I'm not surprised because, you see, we have banned trophy, turkey tail in this country. But go around in Sawama and other places, it's been displaced. Police will walk past. People who are law enforcement agency also go there and even patronize some of them. Of course, not all of them. But you see this thing, you ask yourself whether it's a country of laws. I believe it's a country of laws. But what are we doing to ourselves? We are harming the whole society. And let us remember that we have price to pay. One day, we'll pay dearly for that if we don't stop this.
And, you know, as you mentioned, the chofi, the turkey tail bit,
Yes.
it also brought to mind, you know, at a point we banned firecrackers, you know, the knockouts and the rest. But I don't know whether that ban has been lifted, but many years after, we're still using them very much. It's an interesting country. You know what boggles my mind sometimes? In this country, we seem to have some of the best laws. A lot of our neighbors, Rwanda, Kenya, and others, come and learn from us. But the implementation of what we put into our laws or our statutes is what becomes very problematic.
I think one of the things we can do, when I was in America, there's something that I experienced that Americans would tell you that they have their legislature is unique. And I asked myself, what is unique about American legislature? Is that when they pass a law, the MPs go out to see that whether the laws are enforced. I think we can also take advantage of this and then implement some of these things so that our MPs will go out as part of their, duties to society to make sure that these things are, enforced. If not, they bring it to the floor of the House, we'll discuss and find solution to them. That will work.
Let's look at some other stories in the paper. So let's take a look at the one to do with financial irregularities. That story is on page 13 of the newspaper. Let's just get there. All right, so there it is. It says 17 billion Ghana cedis financial irregularities uncovered in public corporations. And the Auditor General has uncovered financial irregularities amounting to about 17.5 billion Ghana cedis in the 2021 Auditor Report of public boards and corporations and other statutory institutions. It represents a 36% jump from the 2020 figure of 12.85 billion Ghana cedis. Now, in the last 5 years, financial irregularities in public boards and corporations have hit over, guess what, 50.8 billion Ghana cedis. 50.8 billion Ghana cedis. That means in today's terms, we're looking at about $5 billion plus dollars. $5 billion plus dollars. Almost twice the amount we are seeking from the IMF.
Yes.
So the 17.5 billion Ghana cedis uncovered in 2021 was mainly caused by the credit power sale of 6 billion Ghana cedis that the Volta River Authority and the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, of customers. Now, the irregularities were mainly in the form of cash, tax, payroll, debts and loans, stores and procurement, contract rent, and credit power sales. Apart from cash locked up in non-performing investments on recoverable loans and also outstanding debts, there were also some financial infractions of 4.7 billion Ghana cedis due from customers of the VRA, the 1.2 billion due from customers of the NEDCO for power supplied. But according to the audit report, the debts arose as a result of Forex power sale, mines, sale of power to ministries, departments and agencies, sale of power locally, and the COVID-19 relief. Also captured in the 2021 audit of public boards and corporations were cash irregularities of 505 million Ghana cedis, mainly due to the misapplication of funds, budget overruns, payment of board allowances to council members. Look at that. Payment of board allowances to council members without ministerial approval and payments not authenticated. Out of this sum, 230 million Ghana cedis represented unbudgeted expenditure by the Ghana Cocoa Board on the principal repayment of a 10-year loan. I mean, it goes on and on. There's talk about payroll abuse, some of which we've seen at the Ministry of Finance, over 1.1 million Ghana cedis to 3 ghosts that we can't even trace. Procurement abuse and all of that. Sometimes Doc, I just get to the point where sometimes I don't even know whether talking about these issues makes any difference anymore.
Oh, it's a sad story because we continue to set up even office of. Recently, we had an office for monitoring and evaluation. What were they monitoring? All right. We as a people too, we have also been complicit with this issue. We have not been very aggressive enough to go to court and seek redress on these things. But the way forward is that let us make sure that next time we're going for elections, we'll ask the political parties to come and define to us how they will manage the system so that we don't get this waste from the system. Then we assess them based on what they have said, that yes, during your tenure, you got power, and this is the waste that we incur, for which reason we don't want to renew your mandate. Once we make it part and parcel of the program and we'll force them to put into the manifesto, we'll be able to track this thing and then punish them severely. Other than that, look, we'll come back and discuss this issue.
Let's get into some other stories now as we say goodbye to the Daily Graphic newspaper. There's also the bit about Cape Coast gearing up for Fetu Afashe. But let's check out the international page and just dig in briefly. Kenya's Supreme Court begins hearing election petition. I had to run this by you because you know of what has been happening with Raila Odinga. And, but now the Supreme Court of Kenya began hearing the presidential poll petition by Raila Odinga, who is challenging the result of the August 9 presidential election, which delivered victory to William Ruto. The 7 bench judges, led by Martha Koome, already began the pre-trials on yesterday. This follows Monday's ruling on 2 affidavits that were struck out. And guess what? Just to give a briefing, because I followed it on the BBC yesterday, the court is going to allow the members of the opposition party to get pertinent details from the Electoral Commission and follow through on where they have irregularities or discrepancies. I've not seen this happening in our jurisdiction. I mean, it's interesting that the courts would go to this length as far as, you know, the Kenyan election is concerned, because in the end, transparency, that is the end of the game. But how relevant is it that the Supreme Court is doing this the second time for Raila Odinga?
It's a good thing because you see, in election processes, there are 3 phases: the pre-election phase, the election phase, and post-election phase. The most volatile area is the post-election phase, where people are in disagreement and they need resolution. They go to court. That is the way to go. And then the court will do the needful by coming out with a judgment that will stand the test of time. I am happy that the court is taking pains to go to the Electoral Commission to get all the needed information for their work. It's good. So that at the end of the day, once they make pronouncement, it's okay. We'll move on. And that's it. For me, that is the way we need to go, because Kenya, remember, they experienced violence 2007 after their election. And I think this is one of the things to purge themselves of any violent activity in the country. So they are taking pains to do this. And I believe that other African countries will also follow suit and then address their electoral issues using the court than resort to the barrel of the gun, which has never helped anybody and will not help anybody. I am for democracy. Rule of law must reign supreme in every country.
Let's look at the back page. It says University of Ghana launches initiative to combat sickle cell and childhood cancers, and 600 entrepreneurs in Kumasi benefit from precision quality program. The Ghanaian Times newspaper now. Leakage of public purse, 17.4 billion Ghana cedis missing. And pictured there, Mr. Johnson A. Siedu, Auditor General, whom some are calling out for refusing to disallow and surcharge. AG attributes losses to irregularities and non-compliance with the laws. Songo Salt project will rake in more revenue for national development. Magdan CEO Dr. Daniel Macaulay says so. And political traditional authorities charged to join fight against illegal mining. Also, 3 universities awarded presidential charter can award own certificates and degrees to students. But let's get into the paper proper and look at some other stories. Galamsey allegedly kills wife, mother, and sister, and drummer accused of defiling 16-year-old girl at church premises. Also, Porter remanded for robbing student of phone. So Anthony Yangdong, 20, an illegal miner, is in police grips for allegedly murdering his wife, mother, and sister at Kampala, a suburb of Drapa, in the Drapa municipality of the Upper West region. The victims are the 60-year-old mother of the suspect, Bozobo Yangdong, his sister, Rebecca Yangdong, 22, and his wife, Cynthia Dabuo, 45. We brought the story to you yesterday. I think it was in the Daily Graphic. So maybe since you are here with us today, you can give us your thoughts on that. Tied to this one, man in court for allegedly defiling landlord's daughter. And the restaurant manager accused of defiling his landlord's 15-year-old daughter, Osu, in Accra, has appeared before the gender-based violence court at the police headquarters. Victor Lasse, 42, charged with defilement, pleaded not guilty. And the relieving judge, Mrs. Dora Eshen, admitted Lasse to a 30,000 Ghana cedi bail with 2 sureties. Reflections, Doc?
It is in the bosom of the courts. Let's leave it with the courts. Let them finish their work, and we'll comment on that.
Over 100,000 people living with HIV in Ghana unaware of status. Wow. That's according to the Ghana AIDS Commission. Over 100,000 people are living with HIV in Ghana, and they are unaware of their status.
A very difficult situation. Because you see, when we are talking about labor force, you look at the health of a country. So we must put measures in place so that we can get this problem addressed. It is a worrying sign, and that if you tie it to the difficulty we have in the economy, and that also is going to take a chunk of the money that will be used to take care of them, then it's a problem. I think the institutions must begin to send the message out clearly, like the way they've started. It's a good thing, and then everybody will follow the process. Yeah.
Okay, so that will be it for the Ghanaian Times newspaper. There's also Sports Minister urges FA to invest in local game at GFA's 28th Ordinary Congress. That's on the back page of that paper. But the Finder, what have they found? 932 die of HIV/AIDS in first 6 months of 2022. That's according to Dr. Ayusi Ado. That can be tied into the report I just gave. So almost 1,000 people have lost their lives, and about 100,000 aren't even aware of their status. That is, they have it, but they don't know they have it. Access Bank injects $250,000 into Division 1 League as headline sponsor. There's also U.S. government supports reading programs with 3.7 million additional books, and 3 varsities granted charter to enable them award their own degrees and diplomas. We've already looked at that. But I suppose another concern is the number of people we are losing to HIV and AIDS, Doc.
Health in general in this country is a problem. What is the budget that we give to the health ministry? Is it enough for them to do their work? We must also think about the input for them to do their work. How many vehicles do they have to go around the country and do advocacy and whatnot? There are a whole lot of things that are affecting us. If we manage our finances well, we should be able to put a finger on this problem and address them head on.
In other stories, page 4, monkeypox disease, 3 cases confirmed in Bono region. And there's also this one, Becca grabs master's degree at UPSA. I'm not the biggest fan of her music, though she's done some pretty good stuff, but we must celebrate our own. And Afropop, R&B, and highlife musician Rebecca Champong Sunny Daniel, popularly known as Becca, has grabbed a Master of Arts in Brands and Communication Management from the University of Professional Studies, Accra. Here's the highlight. She was the valedictorian for her year group, best student, 3.92 as GPA. And that is no mean feat because we've been there before. So that is something that we must salute. She's a product of the Wesley Girls High School, Wegehe. So Wegehe winning big as far as this one is concerned. And we salute Becca on this feat. So she's not just a musician doing business and other things. She's also got the smarts on. And
I want to join the people to also congratulate her. She was my student. I know her. She's very good. And the sky is her limit. You should work hard, and we will support her in prayer. I mean, we admire her, and you should continue to work hard and make everybody proud. We salute her.
We do salute Becca. More wins, more wins. Daily Guide now, 12.23 billion irregularities detected in MDA's operations. Government signs MOU with Toyota Susho. And there's 3 ghosts vanish with over 1 million Ghana cedis in salaries. So the money grew wings and flew away from the Ministry of Finance.
It's very, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate that we need money to run the affairs of this country. If we manage our resources well, I'm not sure we'll go for loans from any institution, because what we throw out here through carelessness and lack of supervision is a lot, but we are not ready. We want to go borrow and then, come and use them and abuse them. But the little that we can generate will not manage them well. It's simply because there are institutions out there who are ready to support us. The day they will decide not to give us anything, we'll begin to look sharp and think right. And that time will soon come. And that is the time that we'll learn our lessons. For me, it's just a matter of time. The reality will dawn on all of us, and we'll know whether we'll continue to be in this state or not.
2 quick stories from the Daily Guide. On page 6, Atoforsen breached ambulance contract, and the Minister of Health, Kweku Agyeman-Manu, has insisted that the decision by Dr. Cassiel Atoforsen, a former Deputy Minister of Finance under the erstwhile John Mahama government, to write the Bank of Ghana authorizing the establishment of letters of credit, which led to the importation of defective ambulances, breached the terms of the contract between the Government of Ghana and the Big C General Trading Limited, a Dubai-based company. The minister further reiterated that the Ministry of Health at the time did not approve the payments to be made under the contract, as there are no documents at the ministry to confirm the approval. Again, Mr. Agyeman-Manu told the court that he is not aware of claims that it was the Controller and Accountant General that wrote to the Bank of Ghana to establish the letters of credit, which formed the basis of payment of money to Big C. Of course, these assertions have been roundly debunked by Dr. Cassiel Atoforsen, but we'll leave the courts to decide what the way forward. They would events read between the lines. But then there's also McDan defends Ofori-Atta. I want your quick take on this. Business mogul Daniel Macaulay, popularly called McDan, has rejected calls for the removal of Ken Ofori-Atta as finance minister. According to the founder of McDan Shipping Company Limited, the minister must be given time as well as encouragement as he takes steps to fix the broken economy. The CEO of McDan Group believes that in as much as he respects the views of those calling for the minister's head, they should also understand that President Akufo-Addo knows the reason he appointed him to that high office. Interesting times. Your reflections?
We also know the reason why we are talking the way we are talking, because a hungry man is an angry man. Let us also remember that one of the factors that influence voter choices in this country is the economy. It is in the interest of the government to fix the economy. Other than that, when it gets to election, this is one of the variables they will use to gauge the performance of the government. If they are saying that the minister is doing well, fine, I have no problem. But the reality will dawn on the government sooner than later.
Let's wrap with just these few stories and we can say goodbye. We'll look at Republic Press quickly and Ghanaian Publisher. So NDC members who campaign skirt and blouse cannot contest positions. Story on page 4, pictured there at Adekoka. I'm very passionate about Ghana's transformation. Kwabena Japan says so, and he's been taken on by some members of the ruling administration because he's been vociferous in talking about some of the rot in the system. Next NDC government will champion a review of 1992 constitution. That's according to John Dramani Mahama. But, Mr. Mahama, I have a quick, we have the 2010 Constitutional Review Commission, which your boss, then President Atta Mills, put together. And nothing happened. 2010. You left power in 2016. What happened in between? And still, we're talking about major flaws in our 1992 Constitution. Our Assets Declaration regime, one of those. So you had the opportunity, Mr. Former President. What did you do with it? That's the question. Judges indicted in AG report for buying Donkomi auction cars. Dufour challenges Mosquito over Ahoto projects, and government would have fixed more roads if people had embraced e-levy. That's according to the roads minister. I'd like you to share your thoughts on any ones you choose, but also add what Amwakwata is saying, that if we had embraced the e-levy, Ghana could have built more roads. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but your thoughts on that?
Oh, yes. I'm also laughing here because I don't think I subscribe to that proposal by the minister. With respect, look, we have got a lot of money in this country. Have we managed them, well? No. Look at the waste slipping through our hands. A lot of money. All right. About 50 point something billion. We can account for this. This is enough to take care of everybody. So you are always looking for money. But you see, it's your duty also to manage resources well. That's what we call governance. Governance is the effective use of resources to make life better for everybody. Is it the case? No. So we can give you whatever you need, but if you are not able to manage it well, I'm afraid you can't do anything. Government must do self-introspection and realize that there are things they are not getting them right. They should be able to plug them. I'm surprised that government is struggling to get people to help government to fix the economy. Where are the Kufuor boys and girls who helped President Kufuor to put CD to dollar? Where are they? Is the government making use of them? I'm surprised that the president is not making use of these people. There are a lot of people there even within the NPP. All right. This is where we saw President Kufuor's era when CD was equivalent to dollar. Those who managed the gains at the time, where are they? Are they alive or they are outside this country? I think they have to reach out to them and let them help the process so that we can all breathe a sigh of relief. We are worried. We are worried as a people.
But some may tell you that they're still around. We may not have those who have passed on to glory like the Banre Dues and the rest, but we have the Osafo Mafos. And maybe they are not listening to maybe they are not listening to the MPNIMs and the others. Maybe they are not listening.
Yes, MPNIM. Why won't you listen to them? Governance is making the best out of what you have. And if we continue to work, because there is somebody or an institution called the IMF you rise to when you are in dire need of money, you won't resort to them, then I'm afraid you are not governing. You are doing something else. Governance is dialogue. You bring all hands on deck to make life meaningful for everybody.
Well, time to wrap, but let me just leave our audience with some headlines from the Ghanaian publisher. Curbing river mining a shared duty, that's according to Mreku Duka, Deputy Minister. There's also 19 judges in unlawful purchase of vehicles. And of course, stick to quality assurance, FDA, to water producers. Doc, any parting comments?
I think, let us see. I want to go back to the thing you said about NDC, who said that they are not going to allow people who campaign for skirt and blouse and all that. As part of the process to build internal democracy within parties, parties must spell out the do's and don'ts and continue to give education to their followers so that you know that when you cross a line, you'll be punished. And that is not only peculiar with the NDC, with all the parties. Sometimes you see struggling and then breach of laws and all that. All these things, doesn't augur well for meaningful democracy. If we want to build a democracy that will stand the test of time, we need to build our institution as solid as a rock. It is on this basis that we can have an endured democracy that will last the test of time. Yes.
Doc, nagode. Yadawase.
I'm grateful.
All right, Dr. Kwame Asante there joining us for the news review. But up next, we serve you sports. And of course, we'll be showing you how the Blues, Chelsea, crumbled with Southampton. When Man United, my own Red Devils, caught them and spanked them by 1-0, people said, oh, it's a fluke. Well, Southampton caught the Londoners, Chelsea, and showed them where power lay. All of that coming up in sports. Stay.